U.S. Assistant Secretary of State Donald Lu is arriving in Nepal on 14th of July next week. Even as the top U.S. official is visiting several South Asian countries, the visit comes at a time when the Nepal-China engagements have intensified, with Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal's China visit on the cards. It may be recalled that Lu had taken a special initiative for the ratification of the much-debated MCC-Nepal Compact and for Nepal to be a part of the U.S. State Partnership Program, or SPP. Good morning, I'm Abheudaya Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. Nepal police probe for organized crime over allegations of involvement in the Lalita Niwas land scam. CIB files application to scrap the Supreme Court interim order related to the case. Universities to conclude admissions of students for undergraduate programs within 2 months of publication of results of grade 12, a move aimed at curbing the exodus of students. Israeli forces start withdrawing from the Jenin refugees camp in the occupied West Bank. This ends a major 2-day operation during which 12 Palestinians and 1 Israeli soldier were killed. And two-time Wimbledon champion Andy Murray advances into the second round of Wimbledon. Second seed Aryna Sabalenka through to the second round as most seeds advance. The Central Investigation Bureau, CIB, of Nepal Police is to investigate against those arrested in the alleged involvement in the Lalita Niwas land scam for organized crime. 9 people have been arrested so far in connection with the case against whom the CIB has begun a probe for organized crime. The CIB had been investigating them for forging documents to sell government land in Balwatar. The Bureau took approval from the Office of the Government Attorney yesterday to extend their custody by 7 days and begin investigation for organized crime. Prior to this, the police had a limited 25 days to submit investigation report. Now the CIB can keep the arrestees in custody for up to 60 days for investigation. The Nepal police has arrested 9 people so far, including Min Bahadur Gurung, the owner of the Bhatpatini supermarket chain, former election commissioner Sudhir Kumar Shah, and the then officer at the Dili Bazar Land Revenue Office. They have been alleged of forging documents and for organized crime. 130 more individuals are in the CIB's list for investigation, including former Secretary Deep Basnath, who have been absconding. Meanwhile, the Central Investigation Bureau has filed an application at the Supreme Court through the Office of the Attorney General demanding for the scrapping of the Apex Court's interim order issued against the arrest of 17 individuals alleged of involvement in the Lalita Niwas land scam. The Apex Court had issued an interim order as the 17 alleged of involvement had filed a writ application. As a result, Kaladhar Deuja, Bhupendra Mani Kesi and Surendraman Kapali had been released immediately after their arrest by the CIB last week. The CIB filed an application to scrap the interim order, saying that it had obstructed the investigation. The first meeting of the Eminent Persons Group, EPG, that was formed to review the 1950 peace treaty between Nepal and India took place in Kathmandu 7 years ago. The group prepared a common report some 5 years ago, and during the 9th meeting of the group held in Kathmandu, they had agreed that the report would first be received by the Indian Premier and then by the Prime Minister of Nepal. However, the report has been stranded as the Indian side has yet to receive the report and the Nepali side has lacked diplomatic effort. The two sides had agreed for the formation of the group some 10 years ago during then Prime Minister Baburam Bhattrai's India visit. During Indian Premier Narendra Modi's Nepal visit in 2014, an agreement was made to form an 8-member EPG with 4 members from each side. Both the countries announced of their team a year later. In the following years, the group reviewed treaties between the two countries and discussed on ways to improve bilateral ties, trade treaties, and border security, among others, and made recommendations. Discussions were held in 9 rounds to produce a report that has suggestions in political, security, border, communication network, and financial cooperation, energy, water resource, education, culture, among others. However, the report has not been received by the southern neighbor. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. Why has India not accepted the report of the EPG? Your options are A, against the interest, B, inadequate pressure, and C, concerns over ties. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Singer and artist Robin Tamang was found dead at his residence in the capital's Abheudaya yesterday evening. Vocalist and rock singer of the band Robin and the Revolution was found dead at his house in Bishnumati, Abheudaya yesterday evening. According to police, Robin's body was taken to TU Teaching Hospital in Maharajganj for postmortem. Robin's number of songs, some of which are cover songs, are popular among the youths. Robin had also featured in more than a dozen Nepali films, including Chadke, Mukoda, and Chiso Ashtray. Universities are to conclude admissions of students for undergraduate programs within 2 months of publication of results of grade 12. The University Grant Commission, UGC, is to begin the early admission program of students to curb the number of students leaving Nepal for higher education in other countries. The UGC, which has finalized the national academic calendar, is of the belief that this plan will bring uniformity to entrance examinations and admissions. The University Grant Commission has prepared a national academic calendar for higher education, which requires concluding admission of undergraduate level within 60 days of publication of results of grade 12. Based on this system, the annual programs must begin the latest by 1st of Mangshir as per the Nepali calendar and conclude by 15th of Bhadra, while examinations must be administered by 15th of Asoj. For programs operating in the semester system, results must be published within 5 months of beginning of the academic session. Separate academic calendars of different universities have led to dilemma among students and their parents and guardians regarding entrance examinations and admission schedules. Processes are delayed in medical and engineering education because of entrance examinations and matching processes. Vice Chancellors of Health Science Academies have recommended for expediting the entire process as well. Around 200,000 students clear grade 12 examinations each year, while more than 110,000 leave the country for higher education abroad. Therefore, the national academic calendar has been prepared with the objective of creating a conducive environment to retain the students by providing quality education and timely admission. However, Vice Chancellors of universities have identified challenges in implementing the idea. They have said that political commitment is imperative for the efficient implementation of the concept. Absence of uniformity in academic calendars have led to drop in quality of education and the drop in image of Nepal's education standard in the international scenario. Experts have therefore also identified the need for efficient implementation of the academic calendar to uplift the standard of education in Nepal. The Global CAN, or Global Body Surveying the Dreaded Cancer Disease, has said that at least 20,508 new cases of cancer were added to the number of cancer patients in the country in the year 2020. Over 11,000 of these new cancer patients are women. According to Bhaktapur Cancer Hospital, there were 396 cases of breast cancer and 233 cases of cervical cancer in the year 2021. Likewise, there were 487 cases of breast cancer and 294 cases of cervical cancer recorded in the hospital in 2022. Meanwhile, there were 438 cases of breast cancer and 495 cases of cervical cancer recorded in Bharatpur Hospital in 2020, while there were 618 cases of breast cancer and 748 cases of cervical cancer recorded in the hospital in 2021. The statistics show that risk of cancer is increasing in Nepal every year. There is possibility of being detected of cancer due to heredity. Doctors say that the risk of suffering from cervical cancer can be reduced if it is detected on time, while breast cancer can be treated. However, patients have not been arriving on time to detect the cancers at early stage. As per the last statistics of the Nepal Demographic and Health Survey, females in the 15 to 49 year age group 6% have carried out tests on cervical cancer and only 4% on breast cancer. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces what should be done to ensure the transparency of finances of political parties. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
Audit नै गरेर यसो सार्वजनिक गर्दा नै राम्रो
दलका आफ्ना गतिविधि आफ्ना क्रियाकलापहरू ठीक ढंगले सञ्चालन गर्ने हो भने राजनीति गर्ने व्यक्तिहरूको आर्थिक क्रियाकलाप पारदर्शी नै हुन्छ।
करको दायरामा तिनलाई पनि ल्याउनु पर्छ।
तिनीहरुको अडिट हुने हो र त्यो अडिट रिपोर्ट चाहिँ जनता सामु लाने हो भनेदेखि उनीहरु चाहिँ संगठन उनीहरुको अझ मजबुत पनि हुन्छ।
भुक्तानी दिने चेक मार्फत डिपोजिट गराउने बैंकिङ मार्फत गएपछि सम्पूर्ण कुरा पारदर्शी हुन सक्छ।
राजनीतिक दलले बिल भाउचर पारदर्शी गरी सही ठाउँमा पुर्याइदिनु पर्छ।
राजनीतिक दलहरूले जे जति पनि आम्दानी खर्च गर्छन् अब यसको अनुगमन पनि हुनु पर्यो।
कागजपत्र सही राखेर बिल भाउचरहरू तयार गरेर राखिदिनु पर्यो।
टेर्दैनन् गर्दैनन् हुँदैन।
दलका लेखा समितिहरूलाई चुस्त दुरुस्त बनाउने
सरकारले अलिकति नियन्त्रण गर्नुपर्छ।
हिसाब किताब छर्लङ्ग देखाइदिएपछि त कसैले औँलो उठाउन पाउँदैन।
वहाँका बिल भरपाईहरू पारदर्शी तरिकाले चाहिँ सबैले जानकारी हुने गरेर देखाउनु पर्ने देखिन्छ।
अडिट सार्वजनिक त गर्नै पर्छ।
मिटिङ बैठकमा चाहिँ आम्दानी यति भयो यो वर्षको खर्च यति भयो भनेर सबैलाई चाहिँ सुनाउनु पर्यो।
नेताहरुमा चाहिँ के हुनु पर्यो एउटा इमानदारीता हुनु पर्यो।
स्रोत के हो त्यो चाहिँ सबै जनतालाई एउटा जवाबदेही रूपमा उत्तरदायी रूपमा उनीहरूले चाहिँ जानकारी गराउनु पर्छ।
दलहरू सञ्चालन गर्ने मान्छेहरू चाहिँ जिम्मेवार बन्नु पर्यो।
पारदर्शी तरिकाले उसको बिल भरपाई बुझाएर फर्चोट गरिदिनु पर्यो।
उनीहरुको खर्च विवरण चाहिँ समय समयमा सार्वजनिक गर्नुपर्छ।
आर्थिक कारोबार भएको हुन्छ त्यसको चाहिँ पारदर्शी रूपमा लेखा परीक्षण गर्ने।
एभ्री ट्रान्ज्याक्सन राख्न पर्यो सफ्टवेयरमा राखेर डिस्प्ले गरिदिने सबैलाई।
It's time now for the international updates. Israeli forces have started withdrawing from the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. This ends a major two-day operation during which 12 Palestinians and 1 Israeli soldier have been killed. Gunfire and explosions could be heard across Jenin camp as the news emerged yesterday evening. The Israeli military said later that it had intercepted 5 rockets fired towards southern Israel by Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip. No group immediately claimed that it was behind the launches. As the Israeli withdrawal from Jenin got underway, Palestinian health officials reported that a Palestinian man was killed by Israeli forces. It said he was the 12th Palestinian fatality in the city since Monday. Separately, the Israeli military said a non-commissioned officer in combat service was killed by live fire in the refugee camp yesterday evening. Earlier in the day, the militant group Hamas, which governs Gaza, said a car ramming and stabbing attack in Israel was a response to the Jenin operation. Israeli authorities said 7 people were injured on a busy shopping street in the city of Tel Aviv and that the attacker was a Palestinian man from the West Bank. He was shot dead by a civilian. The Israeli military launched its operation in the Jenin refugee camp early on Monday with a drone strike that it said targeted a joint command center of the Jenin brigades, a unit made up of different militant groups, including Hamas. Drones carried out further airstrikes as hundreds of troops entered the camp and engaged in intense gun battles with armed Palestinians inside the camp. The military said the counterterrorism operation was focused on seizing weapons and breaking the safe haven mindset of the camp. The world's average temperature reached a new high on Monday, 3rd of July, topping 17 degrees Celsius for the first time. U.S. researchers said the new record was the highest in any instrumental record dating back to the end of the 19th century. Scientists believe a combination of natural weather event known as El Niño and mankind's ongoing emissions of carbon dioxide are driving the heat. Last month has also been confirmed as the world's warmest June yet recorded. Scientists at the U.S. National Centers for Environmental Prediction said that the world's average temperature had reached 17.01 degrees Celsius on 3rd of July, breaking the previous record of 16.92 degrees Celsius that had stood since August 2016. Since the start of this year, researchers have been concerned about rising temperatures on land and at sea. Record spring heat in Spain and many countries in Asia have been followed by marine heat waves in places that do not normally see them, such as the North Sea. This week, China continued to experience an enduring heat wave with temperatures in some places above 35 degrees Celsius, while the southern U.S. has also been subject to stifling conditions. Monday's high is the warmest since satellite monitoring records began in 1979. Experts also believe it is the highest since widespread instrumental records began towards the end of the 19th century. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.